Cuphead DLC. What does Cuphead and Mugman use the cookie power to change into Miss Chalice at the same time? I'll just skip the quip. Alright. So that's what happens. I don't know if you saw it. So
This match will get red hot.
what is you doing in this?
This match will get red hot. And begin.
Huh.
This match will get red hot. Here goes. This match will get red hot. Here goes.
Huh.
What is a tempo gin smash? A not too sweet mix of gin.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we are going to be doing the ultimate Cuphead challenge. I thought of this and it sounded like fun. It wasn't really fun. It was really hard. But if you want to do this, feel free to do this. The criteria for this challenge is you must beat the main story of Cuphead, just from the root pack to the devil boss fight, no DLC, on normal mode. You can do it on either. And you have to do it without grabbing a coin, without upgrading your shot, without getting a new charm. You have to get all A ranks in every boss. You're not allowed to reset. You're not allowed to hit the retry button, basically. And you're not allowed to use super arts. So basically all you're allowed is the pea shooter, and it has to be one run. You're not allowed to quit out ever. Unless you beat a boss and it's not an A rank, then you can go back and beat it again, but if you die, you have to restart the run. Before the video starts, if you could leave a like or maybe even subscribe, that'd mean a lot to me. I really appreciate all the support on my recent videos. I'm having a lot of fun making videos. So, if you want to see me try this challenge on expert difficulty, if you want to see me play through the whole thing on expert, let me know in the comments below, and let's see if we can get this video to 50 likes. If we get it to 50 likes, that means I know you want to see the video. So I started my playthrough like pretty much any other one. I opened up the game and then I started a new save file. And instead of doing the tutorial, I just exited directly to the map because I didn't need the coin in there. And then I also skipped right past the apple guy because I also didn't need his coin. I also just skipped past the first level because I didn't need to do it because I'm not allowed coins. And I just skipped right to the root pack. These first few bosses are going to be really easy because all I do is parry until I get my super meter and spam my EX move as fast as possible because I can't actually have a super art equipped. So all I did was shoot them until they died. That's pretty much it.
Hold on, sorry.
I also skipped right past the app. All I did was shoot them until they died. That's pretty much it. I made sure to save majority of my EX moves for the final phase, which is the carrot, because he's technically the hardest one out of the three. So I wanted to make sure that I finished that as fast as possible so I didn't take any damage, so I could still get the A. And just like that, our first boss, the root pack, goes down. This isn't gonna be that hard at all. This is gonna be easy. This is easy work. This is light work. I'm good. Yeah. We raise the first gold flag pole of many, grab the root pack soul contract, and move quickly down to Ribian Croaks. For this boss fight, I used the same strategy as I did for the other one. I basically just parried when I could because I still need them for the A+. And I just used my EXs as much as possible so I could do as much damage in a short amount of time. So I fit under the time margin for the A rank. The second portion of the fight is really easy because I'm able to hit them on either side wherever I turn. So I'm constantly doing damage. And I'm making sure to save all my EX moves for the final part so I can use as many as possible again so I can deal the most damage in a short amount of time. And with enough EX moves and enough shooting, our second boss goes down, giving our second soul contract and our second A rank of the game. After that, I'm going to head up directly to Goopy Legrand. This is going to be a pretty easy boss fight as well. It's really the same principle. I'm just going to try and dodge as much as possible and use my EX moves when I can, just to make it as fast as possible, because really, I'm not going to die on these. I've done this enough times to know that I'm not going to die on these, so I don't really have to worry. But we did have a pretty close call in the last phase. I took some stupid hits for some reason, so I'm going to let you see that right now. Why I walked. No, okay. No. I'm not dying on this boss. I'm not. No. And again, with that boss fight done, we get another soul contract from Goopy Legrand, and we get another A rank to add to our list. After that, I head up to the blueprints to speedrun them very, very fast, and we head over to the Hildeberg boss fight. Now, this boss fight was the first one that gave me an actual problem, because I couldn't decide whether or not I was allowed to use the bomb attack, because technically it counts as a super attack, but it doesn't count as a super art, because you don't unlock it, you already have it. So I wasn't sure if I should allow them. I ended up not using it at all, so it added an extra challenge because I always had to be watching my super meter, because if it filled up too much, then I would auto use the bomb, therefore I would fail the challenge and I'd have to redo it. During this final phase, I made sure to use a lot of EX moves because I knew that they did a lot of damage and I wanted to make sure I never did my bomb attack, but it wasn't really that difficult because, again, I already know how to do this boss fight. So in the end, we finished it, we got another soul contract, and we got another A rank.
I don't like
With Hildeberg defeated, that leaves one more boss in Inkwell Isle 1, and that is Cagney Carnation. Again, just like every other boss fight in Inkwell Isle 1, this didn't give me that much of a challenge. The only real thing that was a bit annoying was because I'm used to using the roundabout shot, but when all the seeds were coming down, they would spawn either the plants that would float around and try and bite you, or the ones that were on the ground. Those were way harder to hit because I didn't have all the roundabout shots spinning and hitting them. But I found a way around it, and in the end, it wasn't really that hard. And just like every other boss, I made sure to parry anything that was parryable in its last phase, and save majority of my super moves so that I could use them on the final phase so I could get that done as fast as possible. Like reach. I was about to use my super. You can see me doing the super animation. And just like that, we get our final soul contract of Inkwell Isle 1 and our final A rank, and we move over to the Dice House, where we say hi to King Dice and move along to Inkwell Isle 2. Now that we made it to Inkwell Isle 2, we're going to go out and up to the left, and our first boss fight is going to be Varnes von Bonbon. This boss fight isn't really any different from any of the other ones in Inkwell Isle 1. I personally find this one of the easiest boss fights in the entire game, but you might not. The only problem was our first mini-boss, or whatever you want to call it, was the cupcake guy, which is a bit annoying because he has the icing splashes down at the bottom, but I was able to keep my range with a pea shooter. Our second mini-boss was the gumball machine. This is pretty straightforward, just don't get hit. It's not that hard. And then our third one was the waffle. That one's a bit annoying, but to be honest, it's not that hard. And just like every other boss fight, we're going to keep our EX moves till the end so we can do the most damage at their final phase. I was trying to parry that up. Man. Fine. And we will pick up our soul contract and our A rank. After that, I headed over to the
Jimmy the Great. Jimmy the Great.
The genie, whatever his name is, he's not really that hard because he's another plane level. So all we really have to do is watch our super meter to make sure we don't go over and accidentally use our bomb attack. And other than that, he's not really that difficult. His coffin phase was a bit annoying because usually I would go up top and use the bombs to fire down at him. But obviously, I can't do that. So it was a bit difficult because I had to break what I usually do to beat him. Also, during his Cuphead phase and his final phase, it was a bit weird because I usually use the nuke bomb special attack, whatever it's called. But this, obviously, I wasn't able to do it this time, so I had to improvise. Okay, down here. Or not. Just kill him, kill him. And by now, you should know the drill. We pick up our soul contract, and we pick up our A rank. After that, we go and head down to fight Beppy Clown. As always, this boss fight is a little bit hard. I do have to have a bit of a sidebar. I don't know how I missed that duck. They are hittable. If you run into one, you lose HP. I don't know how I missed it. Anyways, during his second phase, that was a bit difficult because I didn't have the roundabout shot, so I could have something constantly on screen, so I'd always be hitting the dog balloons. So that was a bit weird. But during his third phase, I got really lucky because I was able to stand under the horse for majority of the phase, and I was able to hit him and do a lot of damage, so I didn't have to worry about that. And as always, the final portion of the fight is a bit annoying because you have to watch out for the penguins throwing baseballs down at the bottom, and that's always annoying, but we did get it done.
Normally when I do in that phase is I save my super, and then when the penguins come out, I use my super on all of them, so then I have at least some time to hit Beppy the Clown without worrying to dodge.
Nice.
Okay,
just like every other boss fight, we pick up the soul contract.
I'm gonna be right back. You guys can watch the video. I'm just gonna be right back, and the video will continue. All right, I'll be right back.
And we also get the A rank. And moving on to the next boss, which is Wally Warbles. And much like every other plain boss, it's not that difficult. All I had to do was watch my super meter to make sure I didn't go over. And I did have to improvise a bit because usually I use my super art on his second phase and last phase, but I wasn't able to do that, so I had to improvise a bit. But especially during his last phase, I wasn't able to use my super art, nor was I able to use the lobber bombs, so it was a bit difficult, but I found a spot.
Yeah, I know, I also used the bomb on
where
this.
I could hit him consistently, but we did have some pretty close.
I just wanna...
And just like every other boss fight, we pick up the soul contract, and we also get the A rank.
Let me see.
And moving on to the next boss,
Wally
which
Warbles.
is Wally Warbles. And much like every other plain boss, it's not that difficult. All I had to do was watch my super meter to make sure I didn't go over. And I did have to improvise a bit because usually I use my super art on his second phase and last phase.
Yes, I do.
But I wasn't able to do that, so I had to improvise a bit. But especially during his last phase, I wasn't able to use my super art, nor was I able to use the lobber bombs, so it was a bit difficult, but I found a spot where I could hit him consistently, but we did have some pretty close calls. Why did you do that now? I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck. Oh, God. Although this time, we're going to collect our A rank, and then we'll collect our soul contract. And with Wally Warbles out of the way, we're left with one final boss in Inkwell 2, which is...
I was doing a challenge, but I didn't make a video for it. I was doing Cuphead, but only used the chaser. I got to this level, and I still haven't beat it, but only using the chaser, I put the charm on with 5 hearts, and only using that chaser, it's hard. I haven't beat it.
Sit here and lie and say, oh, this boss was easy, it was a piece of cake, because it wasn't. It was actually really hard. Luckily, I was able to get this on my first try, but this boss was really hard, especially with the pea shooter, because I'm used to using the lobber.
Yes!
And the lobber just works perfectly for this boss fight, because you're able to sit up on the clouds and shoot down at him. But with the pea shooter, you need to angle it, you need to lock on, and you need to make sure that you're actually hitting him the entire time, and it is really hard.
I would use the lobber because
in the first and second phase, it's not as bad, but since in the third phase, he fires the fireballs, which split off when hit, you're shooting a direct line at him. So it's almost always splitting those shots. So you have to find the perfect timing when you can deal damage and when you can't.
I need to beat the I might
that
just...
boss is scary.
So I've done the I've only used the charge. I finished that one, and I'm doing the chaser.
Was
I'll do
definitely
another
intimidating.
chaser
So resets.
And charge when I finish
And
them.
we collect our final soul
Videos.
contract of Inkwell Isle 2, as well as our final A rank.
I have to make
We
episodes for
stop
the
by
Cuphead
at the
because
die
I'm
house
terrible
and say
at
what's up to
Cuphead.
King Dicey
I'm terrible at it, and I'm probably
again, and we're on to Inkwell Isle 3.
It's not gonna be fun because the videos are. I can't make the videos that long.
Where does your almond beverage come from?
Almond Reef starts here with our almond trees and our blue dot.
Now that we've made it to Inkwell Isle 3, we'll head over to our first boss, which is Rumor Honeybottoms.
This boss,
This boss, much like Grim Matchstick, was really hard
without the
because
lobber.
I had to get used to not using the lobber.
I know.
It's not that bad in the.
I used the lobber for the airplane phase and the police phase and mostly everything in this. But now, because the lobber goes down and it hits the plane and the police, and it's
First
really...
phase because you can kind of stay with the guard and stay with them and make sure that you hit him with the EX moves. But during her final phase is when it gets really hard. Her second phase isn't as bad because you can stick up near the top and just avoid any attacks that she throws at you. But at the end, it gets really difficult because you have to make sure that you're constantly hitting her, but she's always below you. It was also really difficult because every single time I had to keep in line with her. I know I could have fired down towards her, but since the platforms are always moving, I would be risking getting hit by an attack, and then I would also sacrifice my A rank, so I didn't want to do that. That was another one that I was a bit iffy
I need a voice changer.
on. And we will collect our first soul contract of the Isle. We will also collect our first A rank. After Rumor Honeybottoms, we'll head over to Captain Brinybeard. Again, this boss fight wasn't that hard because he could always stay in front of me, so I was always able to hit him. And I was able to parry a ton of his attacks that the fish shoots out, so I could get so many EX moves that I could finish it really, really fast. The only thing that I found difficult about this boss fight was it was hard to consistently hit him with my shot because he was always a bit above me, because if you don't know, you need to hit the uvula in the boat's mouth to actually deal damage. And also, since I didn't have my super attack, the phase lasted way longer than I usually have it last. So it was a bit weird and I had to get used to it. I couldn't lock on to shoot up at him, so I had to keep jumping, so I was always hitting him, but it was still pretty hard to get used to. Nice.
Woo! Defeat it.
As always, we collect our soul contract and we collect our A... Wait, hold on a minute. No! Oh, I have to redo it.
Alright. Yep, read it.
Alright. Well then.
Those were my brother. That was
I guess I'll have to
brother.
redo it. That's cool.
Oh. Come on.
146.
A rank.
There's an A.
I was scared. I was so scared that.
And now that we've collected our A rank, we can go on to fight Calamaria. Again, much like every other plane level in this video, it's not that difficult. The only thing I really had to do was watch my super meter. I feel like using all of my EX moves as soon as I got them actually made this fight way easier, especially in her second phase, because I had a higher chance of one of my EX moves hitting one of the eels, which would kill it almost instantly. Her third phase was a bit more difficult, but since it was a straight tunnel, I was able to hit her with majority of my EX moves down at the end of the tunnel, so it wasn't really that hard in the end. Get out of there. Nice! On 1 HP again.
Did he get an A rank? Hopefully he did.
Let's go. And we will collect our third soul contract of Inkwell Isle 3 and our third A rank. After that, we move
Sally.
over to Sally's stage play.
Normally I go Dr. Cal's robot first, but I don't. It's not really that nice. Oh, what? I am so sorry. What the? I don't know what this is.
Nice. On 1 HP again. Woo! Annoying because it always is. Soul Contract of Inkwell Isle. Phase 2 was a bit annoying because it always is, because there's so many ranks.
Okay, there we go.
After that, we move over to Sally's stage play. Again, I didn't have much of a problem with this boss fight. The only problem came in really phases 2 and phases 4. Phase 2 was a bit annoying because it always is, because there's so many projectiles on screen, because there's the carts that come from the roof and there's also the baby bottles that come from the window. But the main problem came in the 4th stage. It wasn't difficult, it was just really hard to actually hit her. So I had to keep pointing up, and it was hard to keep the balance between jumping over the umbrella and hitting her all at the same time. It's taking way minutes. There we go. And just like that, we collect another soul contract and another
Oh,
A.
this is.
Are you kidding me again? Why did I have to make it A ranks? Like, why? What was wrong with just like the regular game? Why did I have to make it A ranks? Why?
That had to be an A+.
I missed that. How did I miss that? I don't understand. Now that we get the A rank, we move on to Verna Vermin.
Wormin.
There's really not much to say about this boss fight. It's a pretty easy boss fight, probably one of the easiest in the game. I got really lucky during the 2nd phase because I didn't get closed off, because sometimes it's hard, because sometimes you can get closed off by the bottle caps and take automatic damage. But I got pretty lucky, and the 3rd phase wasn't as bad because I could always parry, so I always had EX moves, so then it didn't take as long. Clean like the floor at your grandma's house. Let's go. And this time we pick up an A rank, and then we'll pick up a soul contract. And now we head over to probably one of the hardest bosses in the game, Dr. Cal's robot. Now I'm gonna be completely honest here. This boss is hard, but I have
This is the hardest boss I'm gonna do in my my chaser only.
much practice, like hours of practice trying to do the S rank, that I've developed a strategy, and it gets pretty simple. Basically what I did was I defeated the laser first, so I could always parry the little laser beams that come out, and then I could use all those parries as EX moves and then deal as much damage as possible. His 2nd phase was a bit weird because I had no bombs to use, but it wasn't that difficult because he ended up taking a bunch of damage. And then in his 3rd phase, I don't usually use the bombs, so it was pretty normal for me. The 3rd phase was still pretty difficult because I wasn't able to use any bomb attacks, but he does send out a lot of gems that are parryable, so I was still able to get a ton of parries and therefore get a ton of EX moves.
Come on, do it!
Inside the bag! Let's go!
He didn't
It's in the bag!
Hopefully.
It's been put in the bag. Let's go. And yet again, we add another soul contract and another A rank to our list.
Isn't there...
We are now on
now
the
the
final
Phantom-
boss of Inkwell Isle 3, which
Phantom
is
Express.
the Phantom Express.
Yeah.
This boss fight, I used to find this boss fight really easy, but the one thing that is so annoying is those goddamn flying pumpkins. They're so annoying. It seems like they're always in the perfect place to screw you over. It's so weird. But they also do give you a lot of things that you can parry, so I was able to build up my EX meter, which helped me out a lot. The only thing that I found a real challenge with was the last phase, because usually I use the chaser shot for that, because all I have to do is parry the thing and I don't have to worry about dealing damage, because his final phase doesn't have that much health. But during this, I would actually have to aim so I could hit him instead of just having the chaser shot, which would home onto him. So that was a bit weird, but in the end, we still did get it done. Let's go! Okay, that
He's
should
just
be
crying it while he's running. Like he's.
Dude, we're so close. I can't die. I can't die. I cannot die.
I feel like
The first time
if
I
he
did this
dies
boss
when
fight, I
King
did get
does-
a B+, but all I did was redo it. And then we got the Soul Contract, and we got the A rank. With the Phantom Express out of our way, we are on to the final bosses, which lie in Inkwell Hell.
I freaking hate Inkwell Hell. King dies. I can't beat that first try.
Is that a cheese
I'll
string? trade you my
try,
bagel
but I
for it.
can't.
How about my pirate's treasure?
Miss-
Our first boss of Inkwell Hell will be King Dice. The King Dice boss fight is very difficult, especially on your first playthroughs, but I've gotten so used to it that I verse the same bosses every single time pretty much. Except for the first 3 bosses, I can alternate between any of those, but then I usually go to the 4th boss, which is the Dominoes, and then I do the 8th boss, which is the Magic 8 Ball. This time I got really unlucky with the placement of the extra hearts, and I was only able to get 1 because they weren't on the ones that I'm used to, therefore I wasn't going to do them.
Oh, why does it have to be on the rabbit? Are you serious? Are you kidding me?
I don't do the rabbit. Cause
So I ended up getting the heart.
sometimes on the rabbit, he likes to put skulls under you in places where you can't get it, and it is so annoying.
For the first level, and then skipped the other 2 and went to my preferred bosses because I knew I wouldn't take any damage there.
Wait,
And when I made it to the final phase, you are able to hide behind his hands on either side, but I wanted to get as many parries as possible so I could use a bunch of EX moves so I could get him to die as fast as possible. So I made sure to stay in the middle and parry as many cards as I could so I could use a bunch of EX moves.
Nice.
it's just a double.
That was clean. That was clean.
Okay, the devil is not that hard.
was
I can
clean.
beat it first try.
That was clean.
And just like that, we pick up our second to last Soul Contract and our second to last A rank. And with King Dice out of the way, we head on to the final boss of the challenge, and arguably one of the hardest bosses in the game, the Devil. The final boss of the challenge, and this guy is hard. He was definitely the hardest boss of this challenge. There was so much that I had to get used to, and I had to do it so quickly because it was only 1 try. I usually use the spread shot for his final phases when you're down below and you're on the platforms.
Same.
Because I have more shots that end up hitting him. But you actually had to aim with the pea shooter to hit him directly, which made it like 10 times harder. The first phase isn't bad because I could keep direct hits on him at all times. But once it got to the second and third phase, it got really difficult because, especially in the third phase, when he has the bats that appear up at the top of the screen, because they come down and you can't hit them pretty much with the pea shooter, because when you jump to shoot, it always shoots in a direct line instead of actually spreading out like the spread shot to hit all of them. But yeah, this boss was really, really hard, and I'm gonna let you see my reaction to finally completing this challenge.
Okay. How am I supposed to hit you? How am I supposed to hit you? How do I hit you? How am I supposed to hit you? Oh my god. No. Just die. Let's go! Oh my god. I'm about to have a fucking heart attack. Oh, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god, and it's A-. Oh, I don't have to do it again. Oh!
And with the devil out of our way, we collect our final A rank, but we have no more soul contracts to collect, which means the challenge is over and we have won. And just as some quick proof, I go over here to show you everything that I don't have too much. We've got no shots, no supers, no charms, all A's, no coins, and no deaths. And that's it. So this is the end of the video.
This is the end of my video. Subscribe and bye.